Part 40. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 391. These 7 islands belong to the upper echelons of the Dark Knight Alliance, Ancient Buddha Guild, Tianzone, and Divine Sword Pavilion respectively. Although the Devil's Contract has a mandatory effect, it is impossible to join the Akatsuki organization in places where the guild's terms cannot be betrayed. As the head of the Xin Chen Pavilion, Yu Suanji can join the Xiao organization, but because he is the president, the authority within the guild does not have any particular constraints on him. Therefore, Devil Contract can use this bug to bring Yu Suanji in. Some of the other people joined guilds with less strict restrictions, or simply quit the guild and followed Lu Shu. The remaining members of the Dark Knight Alliance, Ancient Buddha Guild, etc. cannot withdraw casually because the guild contains great secrets and has extraordinary status. Otherwise, there will be backlash. Lu Shu didn't bother to persuade them. In his eyes, whoever joins his guild is no different. If these people are so troublesome, then they might as well kill them. The next second, Lu Shu's figure turned into an afterimage and left this place. After seeing Lu Shu leave, Yu Suanji took out the starfruit. Ahem, I've actually been craving this starfruit for a long time. It's just, I'm a little embarrassed to just swallow it in front of others. When Lu Shu finally left, Yu Suanji couldn't hold it in anymore and quickly threw the starfruit into his mouth. This taste. It's the smell of stars. What a pure star specialty. Yu Suanji's eyes suddenly lit up. Then, his eyes suddenly moved. The majestic power of the stars suddenly turned into 3,000 galactic waterfalls, falling down, washing the marrow of Yu Suanji's whole body. The power was borderline SS. There was a qualitative leap in power between the level and the SSS level at this moment, and he was finally able to break through and enter the true SSS level. At this point, Yu Suanji suddenly sensed that there was something more above it. Transcendent power. Transcend the mortal world and reach the gods. At this moment, Yu Suanji realized how small his original understanding was. It turns out that the E-level to SSS levels distinguished by the Divine Tree Master's abilities, no matter how high the realm, are all mortal. In the world of gods, all mortal beings are just ants. Wait, this power. After swallowing the starfruit, this moment, Yu Suanji finally remembered where he had encountered this transcendent and supreme power of the stars. That's right. Just in the abyss of reincarnation. On that day, all sacred tree masters were called upon to go to the abyss of reincarnation. Although Yu Suanji was a latecomer, he felt that there was a transcendent star power in the maze. Afterwards, Divine Tree Masters in the past rarely achieved anything. No one can break through the final maze, and everyone has no choice but to return. But after the invasion of the Grey World, miraculously, a message that the maze has been conquered appeared. This person is exactly the Tree Lifter. Number 1 among the legends. No wonder no one has seen any gains in the maze of reincarnation in the past. No wonder this person is so powerful, even I am no match for him. It turns out that he is the number 1 tree lifter. The previous maze of reincarnation has been swept away by him. How could anyone else gain anything? Yu Suanji couldn't help but smile bitterly, shook his head and sighed. Unexpectedly, everyone thought that the top masters on the list had vaguely touched the highest realm of the Grey World. In fact, there are people outside the world, and there are gods outside the world. Below, they are all ants. The so-called SSS level, in the eyes of the gods, are just larger ants. Even the mortal world, they are all dust. Could it be? Has that person already reached this level? Yu Suanji's eyes couldn't help but flash with a hint of shock. As an SSS level, he had no power to fight back in the opponent's hands, and he couldn't even see the opponent's true state. Does it mean that, the number 1 ranked person? The tree-lifting man has actually transcended the mortal world. Boom. Boom. An earth-shaking sound came from several sacred tree islands. Not even a moment passed. All the sacred tree islands have been defeated. Dark Knight Alliance, Ancient Buddha Guild, Tianzong, the eyes of all the sacred tree masters flashed with a trace of uncontrollable panic. What happened? How come there are so many grey monsters here? Who broke through my island? As a sword light flashed, the sacred tree masters present were killed instantly before they could react. Before they died, there was still a trace of unbelievable fear in their pupils. It took less than a few seconds. The 7 sacred tree islands were all destroyed by Lu Shu. These sacred trees were transformed by Lu Shu into the growth value of the natal sacred tree, and did not choose to gain excess power. After all, their strength was too weak. Lu Shu didn't have the time to distract himself from these fancy superpowers. In his eyes, cultivation is the most important thing now. Superpowers. Performing acrobatics? In the guild chat box. Xiaomeng's 7 sacred tree islands were destroyed in such a short period of time. The president is so terrifying. Of course, after joining the guild, you will gradually understand what a terrifying existence the president is. Prodigal Sword. It seems that these 7 islands are basically composed of the top guild members of the Dark Knight Alliance, the Ancient Buddha Guild, and the Tianzong, and their strength is at least S-level. Didn't you expect this? Xiao Chang'an. Normal, in the eyes of the president, it's just a routine operation. Looking at the chat box and then at the panel, Yu Suanji was even more shocked. He smiled bitterly and said, I'm afraid, Lu Shuren's strength is more terrifying than I expected. However, he then took a glance and found that everyone in the guild called Lu Shuren the president, instead of calling him Bang Bang. Big guy. As smart as he is, he quickly guessed that many people still didn't know the identity of the tree lover. Yu Suanji is also a smart person. He won't say anything that shouldn't be said. The secret was kept. He smiled inwardly and said, it's interesting. It's really an honor for you to be able to cooperate with the legendary tree-pulling man. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 392. Within the guild. Many sacred tree masters had just joined the Akatsuki organization and started discussing. On the panel, the number of remaining sacred tree masters has changed from the original 50 to 43. There are 7 islands that cannot join Lu Shu's guild, so they are directly produced. Someone in the guild noticed the change in numbers and immediately started discussing it in the chat box. Why did the number suddenly drop by 7? It seems that someone refused to join the Akatsuki organization. Are they too stupid to not join the guild and would rather give up their lives? It can't be said that, some divine tree masters join special guilds and it's not so easy to quit. This group of people is really pitiful. In the end, they died because of the guild's contract. At this time, a message in front of the screen caught everyone's attention. President : After 7 days, you will naturally return to the sacred tree island. Lu Shu's words were like a reassurance. All guild members were relieved. During the battle on the sacred tree island, as long as time passes, it will automatically return to its original state. It is not necessary to kill other sacred tree masters. It's just that, the last surviving sacred tree master will become a god. What does this rule mean? Finally, the 7 days are up. The battle on the sacred tree island is over. The world public screen has gone from deserted to bustling now. Oops, I finally survived this island battle and can claim the reward. You guys think, why don't the rankings distribute rewards first, and then start the island battle? I finally got hundreds of thousands of points, but now I'm so worried, I'm afraid I'll die early without even getting the reward. Upstairs, you are bound to die sooner or later anyway, So don't waste ranking resources. Of course, choose to post later. This ranking list is too stingy. What if I match some monsters next time and just miss the reward? There's nothing you can do but admit that you're unlucky, right? After the island war ended, many of the surviving sacred tree masters let out a long sigh. It's better to live without anything happening. Not long after, you can also open the treasure chest after the Grey Realm invasion. It can be said that after a disaster, people feel refreshed when happy events happen. Boom. Boom. Lushu's island made a dull sound. At this time, the battle for the Sacred Tree Island has ended. Most of the 7 Divine Tree Masters killed were above S level. The area of the Divine Tree Island is also very large. Choose Fusion. With a thought, Lushu merged all these Sacred Tree Islands together. The Sacred Tree Island suddenly made a violent noise. Not long after, the area of the island boundary became much larger than before. After all, with the fusion of 7 Sacred Tree Masters from top guilds whose strength is close to reaching S level, the area of the island has naturally increased dramatically. As the borders continue to expand, Lushu frowned slightly. I feel like I can add more things here. Nowadays, the buildings on the Sacred Tree Island can no longer occupy this island. There is a lot of open space. After opening the SSS-level treasure chest, Lushu also obtained many seeds of magical plants, as well as some new buildings, etc. However, no matter how it is built, the extra island area is really too much. Even if the elixir garden separates some medicinal seeds and spreads them, it will be difficult to use all the open space. That's all, let's do this for now. Lushu hasn't thought about what to do with the extra land. However, it's a big area anyway, so it won't be a bad thing. The aura of the island is also much richer than before. The growth rate of the sacred tree has also been improved. In the past, there were about 6,000 growth points every day. However, the area of the island has expanded again. Now, the growth points added every day have become 7,000 points because more spiritual energy has been absorbed. The speed of progress, it can be said that it has soared. The growth value of the sacred tree has reached the 1.5 million mark without realizing it. There is not much difference between the last growth point of 500,000 and the breakthrough from the advanced sacred tree to the realm of the sacred tree. Wait until my advanced holy tree grows to the level of a divine tree. I don't know what kind of superpower fruits can be produced at that time. Lushu's heart moved and he secretly guessed. Since the level of the sacred tree has reached the level of the holy tree, the superpower fruits produced can be said to be of higher and higher levels than before. The Holy Spirit growth fruit is now also, it can reach the quantity of 2 production cycles at once. Everything is getting better than before. If it really reaches the level of the divine tree, Lushu is very much looking forward to what kind of fruits will be produced when it falls. Growing on a sacred tree? A teleportation screen flashed. The deep sea army appeared in the Poseidon temple again. In front of them, a chaotic whirlpool erupted in an abyss, blocking the path forward of the Poseidon temple. The strong wind carries a turbulent storm with an attack power no less than that of a god. It is like entering an irregular and chaotic zone. Unless you become a true god, or have a unique pass, otherwise, no one should want to pass through the sea easily. Lushu has been stuck in this place since he explored the Black Sea monster and the Black Moon clan among the Poseidon clan. This chaotic sea area has blocked the progress of deep sea exploration. Up to now, the civil strife among the Black Moon clan has been breaking out for a long time. The two races were killing each other, almost to the point of death. Blood dyed the sea red. As a result, Lushu's deep sea army still stayed in this area without making much progress. It's slower than expected. When I enter the Grey World in the future and obtain the mirage from the hands of the goddess, I can move forward again. Lushu thought to himself. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 393. However, if you want to enter the Grey Realm, you have to wait until the Grey Realm rankings are released. Lushu was not in a hurry. He ordered Squirtle and Nami to stay here and wait. By the way, send part of the Deep Sea Army to the territory of the Black Moon Clan. The troops over there were basically fighting with the Black Sea monsters, and they lost a lot of money. Plus the Black Moon Clan scepter, now. The assets of the entire Black Moon Clan are like things in a bag, waiting for Lushu to collect them at any time. Black Moon Clan. One of the leaders pointed angrily at the group of fishmen, sharks, and water spirits below, and cursed. What the hell are you trash? Not even a group of sea monsters can be defeated. As a Protoss, I have been completely disgraced. A Murloc with a fierce personality and a good figure couldn't stand the leader's face anymore and cursed loudly. Haig, you better not be so ungrateful. If it weren't for the fact that you are the grandson of the former leader of the Black Moon Clan, do you think you could be selected as the leader based on your strength? To take a step back, the leader you were elected was just a temporary appointment and did not actually take office. You'd better put away your arrogance as a lieutenant and stop showing off in front of me. Without the Black Moon Clan's ancestral weapon, who do you think you are? This sentence is like a murderous thorn, piercing the fragile glass heart of the temporary leader of the Black Moon Clan. You, the temporary leader of the Black Moon Clan, blushed. Although he was very angry, he could not find any reason to refute. Certainly. The main reason is, he really can't beat that mermaid. As the chosen temporary leader, Haig had no real abilities and was only chosen because of his bloodline. Certainly. All the strategies he made afterwards perfectly proved that he was indeed a waste and lived up to everyone's initial opinions. Boom. At this moment, the entire territory of the Black Moon Clan began to tremble violently. The power of the ancestral weapon. The pupils of all the Black Moon tribe showed a look of shock. Ancestral weapon? This shock is completely the power of the ancestral weapon. Why did the ancestral weapon that had been missing for many days suddenly appear? Consecrate all the assets of the Black Moon Clan and I will spare your life. At this moment, Lushu's voice echoed in the ears of all the Black Moon Clan. This is a clone of Lushu, who took action himself. It has reached the realm of Hedeo, and the world tree in the body has condensed the experience of a demigod. Level, even the Black Sea, has no effect on him. After unlocking the domain, no matter what environment he fights in, it is actually the same for people of Lushu's level. Who are you? Wait, you have the Black Moon Clan's ancestral weapon in your hand. Humanity? Turns out to be a despicable human being. Did you kill our Black Moon Clan leader and take away our ancestral weapon? The faces of everyone in the Black Moon Clan were filled with fear and anger. The eyes that looked at Lushu were half frightened and half full of overwhelming hatred. They wanted to eat him alive. Lushu couldn't help but sneer. He let out a sound. It seems, these races that claim to be gods are having trouble with their heads. He waved the Black Moon ancestral artifact lightly. The next second, a huge wave of energy was generated in the entire territory of the Black Moon Clan. Earthquake. The Black Sea water in all directions turned into an undersea whirlpool, trying to tear up everything around it. Arrogant. Do you think that with our Black Sea ancestral artifact in your hands, you can do whatever you want? I tell you, this is the territory of our Black Moon Clan. Since you took the initiative to send the ancestral artifact here, you need to blame us for being ruthless. A trace of madness flashed across Haig's face. Then, a black knife appeared in his hand. He cut it towards his wrist. Drops of blood as black as ink fell from Haig's wrist. Flow down. Dear power of the Black Sea. Please activate the power of the ancestral weapon. Let the glory belong to the Black Moon clan. Let me master the power of God. A series of chants shook the entire Black Sea. The next second, an extremely strong divinity burst out from Hage's body. The Black Moon clan scepter in Lushu's hand began to vibrate uncontrollably. She actually wanted to break free from his hands and return to Hage's hands. Interesting. Lushu then showed some serious eyes. The Black Moon clan didn't leave any backup plan. The ancestral artifacts contained the incantations inscribed by the Black Moon clan for generations. As long as it belongs to the leader of the Black Moon clan, for future generations, the concentration of divine blood is high. If you cut your wrist and perform a blood sacrifice, you can activate the power of the Black Moon clan's ancestral artifact. Even if it falls into the hands of the enemy, there is still hope to get it back. How is it? Do you know how powerful I am? The corners of Hage's mouth raised slightly, revealing a proud smile. Lushu raised his eyebrows and couldn't help but mock. Do you really like opening champagne at halftime? Didn't anyone say that you are easily slapped in the face? Hage sneered and said, don't be so arrogant. This is the ancestral weapon of our Black Moon clan. As the grandson of the previous clan leader, I inherited the purest blood of the Black Sea God. How can you, a dirty and despicable human being, be able to deal with it? Lushu shook his head helplessly. I really don't know if this person is really stupid or has no brains. Forget it, I'm too lazy to waste my words. I originally thought that the other party had some magical power, so there was no difficulty. But now it seems that this person has no IQ. Even if he is given more power, it will have no practical effect. Boom. Iron chains flew out of Lushu's body. That's right. It's the God's lock. Since the God in Hage's body sex, can forcibly control the ancestral weapon. Then, what needs to be done is very simple. Just completely seal Hage's divinity. And Lushu happens to possess the divine lock. All the divinities bred here, under the constraints of the God's lock, it was completely sealed. Impossible. Hage's eyes widened, and he felt that the divinity in his body was completely blocked. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 394. Blocking Divinity. How could you have such great power? No, this must be fake, it must all be fake. Hage's eyes are full of fear. Divinity. There is no doubt that among the eyes of these self-proclaimed gods, he is the supreme one. Now, he is owned by Lushu, a mortal. They are not frightened. That's weird. Lushu smiled lightly and said, how is it? Are you surprised or surprised? Hage's body has already retreated hundreds of steps. It actually passed directly through the Black Moon clan's teleportation array, and he ran away without even thinking about it. He realized that there might be something more terrifying in Lushu's body that could seal the divinity. The power, his biggest support, has been ruthlessly crushed by Lushu. Who else has the courage to stay here? In the end, he is just a bluffing man who is greedy for life and afraid of death. That damn bastard Hage actually betrayed us. Humph, he has always been a despicable person, can't you see it? Let's go, the Black Moon clan has lost its last support. I don't want anything here. I'll fight whoever wants to fight. Why did such a bad thing happen to me? Damn it! All the sea gods here dared to look at Lushu. They controlled the water powers and fled away. Except for a few treasures on their bodies and escaped, no one was left here. What? I don't want anything anymore. Although most of the creatures in the Black Sea have the habit of collecting collections, they are just animals after all. What can be more valuable than life? Lushu is too lazy to covet such a little oil and water on them. The inhumane killing killed all the creatures in this place. Too much time was wasted. Moreover, the gain was not worth the loss. At his level, the entire property of the Black Moon clan was already a little bit insignificant, let alone these scattered Sea God clan. On his body, he carried the little family property he carried when he fled. There is no need to worry about this. Then, Lu Shu's figure paused and came to the ancestral land of the Black Moon clan. His mental power swept over. All the treasures were displayed in Lu Shu's body. In the tree's perception. With a wave of the Black Moon clan's scepter, countless prompts immediately popped up in front of his eyes. You obtained X100000 of Black Moon clan's ores. You obtained mermaid scales X100000. You obtained Black Sea Pearl Coral X100000. Isn't this too much treasure? Lu Shu couldn't stand it for a while. However, a large part of the treasures are just products of the Black Sea. For example, some pearls, jade, minerals, contain the energy of the Black Sea. But for Lu Shu, it has no use. They were all thrown on the altar of the Poseidon Palace, sacrificed, and used as energy for the movement of the Poseidon Palace. However, although there is extra energy, the function of the Poseidon Palace is still very average. It is impossible to break through that sea area. Therefore, although it is useful, it is useless. Then, Lu Shu's eyes turned to some precious ores. Black Sea Black Iron Ore, a legendary grade ore that can be used to cast dark iron city walls to resist the invasion of monsters. Black Sea Crystal, contains the power of the Black Sea. It is fused with the Tianqian cannon and upgraded. The missiles released have the power of Black Sea erosion and can reduce the attributes of most monsters. Black Sea Pearl Coral, a peculiar sea creature that can continuously produce Black Sea pearls, containing the mysterious source of life. These three items are things that Lu Shu found after some careful selection, have some effect on the Sacred Tree Island. It just so happens that the area of the Sacred Tree Island has expanded so much, just in time to build an extra legendary city wall. If the Black Sea crystals are used to upgrade the Tianqian cannon, the defense of the Sacred Tree Island will be enhanced again. As for the pearls produced by these corals, they can be fed to the Sacred Tree as nutrients to accelerate the growth point and the speed of products. Lu Shu's eyes lit up slightly. Unexpectedly, the most useful thing turned out to be this coral. The effect of the Black Sea Pearl is similar to that of the essence of life. Both can accelerate the acquisition of growth points and increase the production speed of products. It can be said to be quite good. Although in terms of ability, it is not as good as the essence of life, it is better in terms of quantity. Moreover, the Black Sea coral is even more dry than a donkey. It does not take any rest at all. It is producing day and night. If the various buff increases of the Divine Tree Island are added, I am afraid the speed will be even faster. Lu Shu's eyes lit up. This is equivalent to increasing the speed of the sacred tree. Different from the life essence that is caught from time to time, the output of Black Sea pearls is very stable. If a sufficient number is planted, then the growth of the sacred tree the speed will be greatly improved. I wonder if I can get more corals. Lu Shu thought in his heart. Pity. After exploring for a while, I unexpectedly discovered that there were no traces of Black Sea coral growth in the sea area. So, where do these Black Sea corals in the hands of the Black Moon clan come from? Could it be below the 25,000-meter sea area? Lu Shu's eyes moved. Although his own Poseidon Palace cannot dive into such a magical sea, but as the Poseidon clan of the Black Sea, the Black Moon clan may have some special methods. After all, they have been certified by the Black Sea, so the storm here will not have much impact on them. I have to get the Mirage as soon as possible, and then let my deep sea army dive into the 25,000-meter sea. Lu Shu thought secretly in his heart. Return to the Sacred Tree Island. You have built the Black Iron City Wall, and a legendary city wall has been added to the Divine Tree Island, and its rating has improved. By consuming the Black Sea crystals, Your Tianqian cannon has the power of Black Sea erosion, and its power rises to SSS level. At this time, another system notification popped up in front of Lu Shu's eyes. The Grey World Invasion rankings are now released. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 395. I have finally waited for this moment. I don't know who can make it to the ranking list this time. I guess Fenjiun Guild has the most sacred tree masters. Is this guild so strong? Brother, the news is delayed. All divine tree masters who join the Fenjiun Guild can enjoy the bonuses of the Fenjiun Alliance. Does this ability have any effect? It is said that the powers of all the divine tree masters can be combined so that everyone can enjoy them. Is this simply a cheat? With so many superpowers stacked up, wouldn't it mean that he is directly invincible? So I say Fenjiun Guild must have the most divine tree masters on the list. Where did you get such breaking news? It must have been leaked proactively from within their guild. Fenjiun Guild has been gestating for such a long time, and the time is ripe. Now it is probably time to vigorously promote it. You must buy quickly while the odds are still high. Damn it, add me. I want to buy Fenjiun Guild too. On the forum, the chat box is filled with posts related to Fenjiun Guild. An island of sacred trees. A faint smile appeared on Fenjiun's face after being silent for so long. It's time to let the world know what kind of guild Fenjiun Guild is. Before, Fenjiun Guild's power is not large enough. Therefore, obscene development is required. No hype? Otherwise, it is likely to attract the pursuit of the Dark Knight Alliance, which was ranked number 1 at the time. But now, the momentum of the Dark Knight Alliance has completely passed, and Fenjiun Guild has continued to grow through these days' efforts. As of now, Fenjiun himself doesn't even need to come forward in person. He can just sit back and enjoy the benefits by staying on the Sacred Tree Island. All members of the guild were okay with it. After all, the establishment of Fenjiun Guild relies entirely on Fenjiun's alliance ability. If there was no such power, then the Fenjiun Guild would be disbanded. Therefore, the president's own safety must be the first priority. No one could say anything. Many high-level divine tree masters joined Fenjiun Guild and soon enjoyed extremely high strength bonuses. Even many super guild executives also resigned from their identities and chose to join the Fenjiun Guild. Nothing else. Just relying on the massive abilities in the alliance is enough to provide them with enough strength bonuses. As long as a divine tree master with strong mental power and understanding joins this guild, his strength will immediately increase by 1 or 2 levels. The benefits are simply not comparable to those of other guilds. Seeing that the momentum was almost there, Fenjiun immediately began to promote the guild. As of now, even super powerful forces such as the Dark Knight Alliance and the Ancient Buddha Guild cannot easily defeat the Fenjiun Guild's Divine Tree Master. Now, it's time to spread the word, so that all the Sacred Tree Masters can gather around Fenjiun Guild. The more members there are in the guild, the greater the bonus to the alliance. More and more high-level Divine Tree Masters are joining Fenjiun Guild, which will only attract more masters to join. Even the morale of Muyu Pavilion has been greatly reduced. It has to be said that Muyu Pavilion has actually been quiet recently. Just like Tianzone, it only acts in private. Only the pavilion master Muyu Tingfeng himself can pop up in the rankings from time to time and gain the attention of many people with extremely high points. Certainly, no matter how high the score is, it can't be higher than that of the Tree Raider. Originally, Muyu Tingfeng was still a second in command, but he seemed to have no popularity. Well, I have to say, the culprit was Lu Shu. Just a while ago, the Dark Knight Alliance issued a sky-high price bounty. Within the forum, a formulated post attracted the attention of many Divine Tree Masters. Shock. The Dark Knight Alliance actually offered Fengyun a staggering assassination price in exchange for the position of the Dark Knight Alliance leader. This post was actually posted by Anya himself. He directly threatened, if someone can capture Fengyun's head, he will transfer his Dark Knight Alliance to the other party. As soon as this post came out, it immediately aroused the attention of many melon-eating people. Is Anya crazy? He actually used his position as leader of the alliance in exchange for Fengyun's head. What good would it do to him? If it is true, then Fengyun has become the number one on the bounty list in the world of the sacred tree. No one has a higher price than him, right? What about the tree-plumping guy at the top of the list? Well, although the top guy on the list is very famous and has never fallen out of the first place, he is like a dragon in the grey world, so there is no reward. There were members of the Dark Knight Alliance who did not know what was good or bad, and targeted the tree people, but they were killed in return, and there was nothing they could say. Yes, now Anya doesn't even dare to mention the name Lu Shuren. It's not on the same level at all. Except for Lu Shu, a priceless special powerhouse who did not appear on the bounty list, looking at the entire grey world, Fengyun's head is now worth as much as the former number one guild, the leader of the Dark Knight Alliance. One can imagine. How valuable is this head? However, some people threw cold water and pointed out that the Dark Knight Alliance and the Fengyun Guild may just join forces to make a living. The purpose is to improve the reputation of Fengyun Guild. But if that's the case, it's even scarier. The old days. The unruly leader of the Dark Knight Alliance also went to work personally for the sake of the Fengyun Alliance. This face is even greater. No matter what the facts are, it is enough to prove that Fengyun Guild's recent momentum has been unstoppable. On the plate. Countless people bought it because Fengyun Guild could obtain the most divine tree masters and get the first place on the list. In less than a day, these news spread throughout the grey world and were widely circulated, and almost no one knew about it. At this important juncture, the rankings are also announced starting from the 100th place. 100th place, I am really not long AOTN, defense points, 10 million, comprehensive evaluation, a level. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 396. When the list came out, the Sacred Tree Masters also showed expressions of relief. Let me just say, Fengyun Guild must have the most people on the list this time. The first person to publish the ranking is the Divine Tree Master of Fengyun Guild. The starting price is 10 million. Why does it feel like this list is hellish again? It's hard to imagine how the big guys in the front will announce the numbers later. The first name of Fengyun Guild's I'm really not long AOTN is that he is a member of Fengyun Guild. This was a reassurance for the Sacred Tree Master of Fengyun Guild. Stable. Steady. The first name is Fengyun Guild. Now, the number has reached one person. Following closely behind were some members of the Star Pavilion, the Dark Knight Alliance and the Ancient Buddha Guild. Most of the names have already been heard. It can be said that it is familiar. At this time, a special name appears in the ranking list of Divine Tree Masters. 83, the Prodigal Sword, defense points, 25 million, comprehensive evaluation, a level. 82nd place, Xiao Chang'an, defense points, 26 million, comprehensive evaluation, a level. 81, Anil, defense points, 27 million, comprehensive evaluation, a level. Several members of the Akatsuki organization appeared directly on the list, occupying more than a dozen names at once. This caused many Sacred Tree Masters to exclaim. How come so many dark horses were killed at once? That an Le seemed to be the mysterious strong man who suppressed Mu Yu Tingfen before at the Tower of Heritage. Does anyone know where these sacred tree masters come from? I don't know, I've never heard of their names. It feels a bit strange that there are so many dark horses in this series. All the sacred tree masters felt strange. These names. I haven't heard of them before. Where did it come from? Fengyun Guild. In Fengyun's heart, there was actually a hint of nervousness with Brother Long's score. He was only ranked 100th. There's something wrong with this. Where can so many masters emerge from the recent Ash Tree realm? In fact, these days, the momentum of Fengyun Guild can be so strong, and it is indispensable for Fengyun's plan. It was he who released part of the information about the guild that can cause such a big discussion. After all, Fengyun Guild now also has many people in the world. Master. It's normal to spark such a discussion. If Brother Long's scores are ranked this low, Fengyun Guild's ranking list this time may be a bit uncertain. Strangeness. Where did all these masters come from? Fengyun is a little confused. Logically speaking, even if there are dark horses entering the rankings, it is impossible for so many to appear at once. Where did they all come from? Their Fengyun Guild. In order to hit the rankings this time, I gained a lot of points. During this period, I devoted myself to pulling monsters. All the members' points were very high. But, this time, they were killed by a group of dark horses. Many guild members went down. Fengyun, his eyes moved slightly. Could it be that some hidden sect knew the goal of our Fengyun Guild, so it sent out so many masters to intercept us? But, this doesn't make sense. Fengyun Guild has also recruited members of Tianzone. Moreover, Tianzone now has an ally relationship with Fengyun Guild. Even the hidden Tianzone is not like this many masters. Who on earth is it? Fengyun was a little confused. He opened the guild member panel and sent out a message to all members. Fengyun: does anyone know any information about these dark horses? I am really not Long AOT and I don't know, where do these people come from? Master Sanja: I don't know. Baiyu: I don't know very well either. In fact, Baiyu actually felt a little guilty when she said this. Of course she knows every name on it. A member of the Akatsuki organization. However, sorry. As a member of the Akatsuki organization, you cannot disclose relevant information to anyone in Fengyun Guild. Baiyu could only sigh secretly. I didn't expect that this Akatsuki organization would be so hidden. If Jianghu didn't know there was such a guild, the possibility of Fengyun wanting to occupy the top spot was really low. Inside the Akatsuki organization, Xiao Chang'an and others suddenly looked proud when they saw that most of the guild members were at the top of the rankings. As expected of the Akatsuki organization, so many big guys have already been killed. Liang Zijian also sighed. I used to only look up to the big guys on the ranking list. Who knows, one day, I can become one of them. If I hadn't joined the Akatsuki organization, I probably wouldn't have had this opportunity in my life. At this moment, the members of the Akatsuki organization are deeply aware of how powerful the guild they have joined is. Yu Suanji, Xiao Mang, and others who have just joined also have extremely surprised eyes. They know that the Akatsuki organization has hidden dragons and crouching tigers. But I didn't expect that this time, the tiger would come out of the mountain. Yu Suanji smiled bitterly and said, this time, in our Xin Chen pavilion, I am probably the only one who can be on the list. If it were in the past, Dong Jun should also be on the list. Yun Zongjun, Yueshan, and Yan Fei, who are relatively strong, still have some opportunities. But now it seems Xiao organization is collectively on the list this time. Single login. I'm afraid there will be nothing wrong with other guilds. Xiaoman's eyes also showed a hint of shock. I didn't expect that the Xiao organization would have so many ranked characters at once. Even for the big guys in Tianzone, it might not be that easy for them to come together to compete for this list. In the past, as a member of Tianzone, Xiaomeng actually felt arrogant in her heart. However, after getting to know the Xiao organization, she suddenly found that Tianzong was nothing compared to it. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 397. 76th place, Bayou, Defense Points, 37 million, Comprehensive Evaluation, A level. 75th place, Xiaomeng, Defense Points, 38 million, Comprehensive Evaluation, A level. As the 2 rankings are announced again, this time, the Sacred Tree Masters of various super guilds finally breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, people from Fenjian Guild and Tianzong showed up. Otherwise, go ahead after seeing so many dark horses. Other Sacred Tree Masters are beginning to doubt life. When Xiaomeng and Baiyu saw the chat above, they felt strange in their hearts. If these people knew that they were actually from the Xiao organization just like these dark horses, I don't know what they would think. As the rankings continue to be announced, many people from the Akatsuki organization have appeared on the list one after another. The appearance of Yu Suanji and Xiaomeng also shocked the dozens of other Divine Tree Masters who joined in. Some members have never heard of these 2 names. Even if it was on the ranking list, because it was not ranked very high, the impression it left was not very deep. Now, I know that the 2 new people who have joined the Akatsuki organization are both well-known bosses in the rankings. It really shocked the other members. Wait. They have not forgotten that all the members here were beaten by the president. In other words, this mysterious master, within a few days of the island battle, not only wiped out dozens of Divine Tree Masters present. Among them, there were also 2 masters in the top 100. Isn't this a request for help? It's not right. Even if it's a trust, Yu Suanji is the president of Xin Chen Pavilion, and Xiaomeng is a first-class master of Tianzong. How much dignity does it take to invite them over? After this, members within the Akatsuki organization feel increasingly unfathomable about the identity of the president. Perhaps, no matter how hard they guess, they can only guess the tip of the iceberg, right? As the rankings continue to be announced. Reaching the previous part, finally some masters from Fenjian Guild came up. Before they joined the guild, they were already top-ranking players. Therefore, it is not surprising that so many members of Fenjian Guild suddenly appeared. At this moment, it was finally the announcement of the top 10 rankings. Dark Knight is back on the familiar list. Although ranked 10th, the Dark Knight Alliance seems to be developing pretty well recently after restraining its attitude. Dark Knight himself also started to pull monsters, began to attack the rankings, and planned to wipe out the shame of the Dark Knight Alliance. It was originally planned to have a few more subordinates on the list. But since those dozen dark horses came out, there seems to be no chance. Fenjian Guild has killed another top 3 master 3 rings. In the end, only the top 2 are left yet to be announced. I wonder what kind of Sacred Tree Masters the top 2 will be. Needless to say, the first one is Mu Yu Ting Feng, and the second one is of course the Tree Lumping Man, is it me? He is worthy of being the number 1 tree lifter in 10,000 years. He ranks first on the list every time. As expected of the Mu Pavilion Master who ranks second in 10,000 years, he ranks second on the list every time. Seeing the contents of the chat interface, Mu Yu Tingfeng's lungs were about to explode with anger. Look, is this human talk? It's okay if you praise others for being number 1 on the 10,000-year list. Why do you have to mention yourself, the second-ranked person in 10,000 years, by the way? Isn't it just a matter of not opening Witchpot? At last, the second place list has finally been announced. Second place, Mu Yu Tingfeng, Defense Points, 100 million, Overall Evaluation, SS level. When this score came out, many Sacred Tree Masters were shocked. Oh my god, Mu Yu Tingfeng also has 100 million points. This is too scary. Has the ranking reached this point? Even if I erase a fraction, I am not qualified to do so. It's really terrible. You say, the second on the list is so powerful, so how strong does the first on the list have to be? Need I say more? Maybe they'll be crushed by double points again? The Sacred Tree Masters discussed. Looking at the messages popping up in the chat box. Mu Yu Tingfeng was originally very calm, but with this double points, she couldn't stand it any longer. From the very beginning, she was crushed by Lushu with 3 times the points. But logically speaking, we have already reached such a late stage, the points of the Divine Tree Master have begun to roll up to 8 or 9 digits. Normally, the points at this time should be getting closer and closer. Why can you get 3 times or twice the points? I don't believe it, this time the tree-pulling man can crush me twice as much. Mu Yu Tingfeng gritted his teeth. After all, he also has 100 million points. The tree man can't soar to 200 million points, right? How many monsters does he have to kill to get this point? Mu Yu Tingfeng suddenly felt that the tree man had soared to 200 million points. Talent is the real monster. Maybe, his true identity is the big boss of the grey world, the kind that no one can surpass. Otherwise, why do I only see this guy on the rankings, but not in the grey world? Where are the traces? Finally, the top list was finally announced. A system prompt appeared in front of everyone. First place, Lushuren, defense points, 250 million, overall evaluation, SSS level. It turned out to be 250 million. Mu Yu Tingfeng felt at this moment that her dignity was completely wiped out the moment the numbers popped up in front of her eyes. She always thought that she couldn't win the first place on the list, at least she wouldn't be crushed too much. Well, she can always do it. Close, right? Who knew, the result would be so heartbreaking. 250 million. This is not a crushing twice, but 2.5 times. God knows what kind of monster the tree lover is, and he can actually create with such an outrageous score. Mu Yu Tingfeng felt like she was autistic. After a moment, she gritted her teeth and said, Shuren, wait for me, sooner or later I will surpass you. At this time, the settlement of the rankings is finally over. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 398. Congratulations on getting a God-level reward. A prompt popped up in front of Lushu's eyes. The settlement of the God-level rewards has finally arrived. After waiting for such a long time, whatever is supposed to come will come. Quickly open the reward panel. Ding. You have obtained a God-level building, the Jade Girl Stone. Ding. You have obtained a God-level formation, the Immortal Formation. Ding. You have obtained a divine magic weapon, the Kinkan Staff. Ding. You have obtained the God-level spiritual stone, Tiangong Jade X 10,000. Lushu looked at the series of harvests in front of him with satisfaction. With the addition of these God-level buildings and formations, the spiritual energy of the Divine Tree Island has become more abundant. The entire island exudes a divine glow. It looks like a heavenly palace. The spiritual energy has also become more abundant than before. Sit down cross-legged and meditate. Lushu took a deep breath of spiritual energy and activated the skills in his body. Boom! The spiritual energy of the entire island suddenly gathered into a whirlpool and headed towards Lushu's body for initiation. Reiki initiation. This is a sign that can only appear after cultivating to an extremely high level. Like a whale swallowing it, it sucks in a large amount of the surrounding body into its body. If an ordinary monk did this, it would be tantamount to seeking death. But Lushu has reached the state of harmony, and this approach is simply too normal for him. The aura of my sacred tree island has become more intense than before. Moreover, these auras have not only increased in quantity, they are also closer to the auras from ancient times and prehistoric times. This kind of spiritual energy can make my breakthrough easier. If you enter the immortal realm in the future, it will become easier than before. Lu Shu's eyes showed a trace of joy. Being able to help him further break through his realm. This kind of thing can be said to be the best. Next, he set his sights on Tiangong Jade, frowned slightly. This kind of god-level jade can indeed build a great wall that is no less than the level of the heavenly palace. If we really build a circle around the sacred tree island, it can be combined with the Tianji formation. Not to mention ordinary monsters, even if the goddess comes in person, I am afraid it will be difficult to break through this line of defense. However, with the Tiangong Jade I currently have, I cannot build a great wall of this size. Lu Shu's expression showed a hint of thinking again. To build the Great Wall of Tiangong, at least 100,000 Tiangong Jade is needed. The inventory on hand is not enough. I have to say, this god-level reward is really too shabby. Wouldn't it be more refreshing to directly reward 100,000? However, Lu Shu thought about it and suddenly discovered that the majestic energy contained in Tiangong Jade can actually be integrated into Tianqian Cannon. It's time to upgrade the dozens of tower defense turrets on the Sacred Tree Island. In fact, upgrading the tower defense turret is more effective than building a great wall. Tiangong Jade contains extremely huge divinity. If it can be integrated into the Tianqian Cannon, its power will not only be able to attack SSS-level monsters, posing a certain degree of threat. Even if this cannon is fired, even gods will suffer. The efficiency of clearing monsters is greatly improved. Little guys like Pikachu and Angelman can also save more energy. Wouldn't it be better to keep some more mental power and squander it when going to the Grey World in the future? Next, Lu Shu's eyes were on the Tianqian Cannon again. With a thought, in the warehouse the extra Tiangong Jade X-10,000 suddenly floated above the tower defense turret. Do you want to choose fusion? Yes. The next second, white light curtains descended. All forts have been upgraded to Tiangong cannons. It contains extremely powerful divinity. No matter it is against monsters of any attribute, it has an extremely powerful restraint effect. The increase in power is more than doubled. It can be said to be an exponential improvement. It's time to upgrade my tower defense turret. Lu Shu watched the attack power of his tower defense turret rise sharply, with joy on his face. Next time when a monster invades the island, there is no need to work so hard. Maybe on the first and second days in the battle, you don't even need to send out Pikachu and Angelman, just use tower defense turrets to bombard them. Anyway, it's just random killings. What's left is to wait for the next god level reward, get more Tiangong Jade, and then build a Tiangong Great Wall. In fact, with the current level of exploration in the Grey World, the strength of the Eternal Great Wall is completely sufficient. Building a Tiangong Great Wall to defend monsters is simply overkill. It can be used to upgrade tower defense turrets. It's just right. At this moment, someone complained on World Public Screen. Why are these tower defense props rewarded? Alas, I feel that defense is useless. Now the monsters are basically invincible. The real threat has become the Sacred Tree Master in the battle for the island. Yes, these tower defense turrets are basically useless against the Divine Tree Master. I feel that if you encounter a Sacred Tree Master, the fort will be directly G, and it will have no effect. When Lu Shu saw these comments, he didn't say much and laughed secretly in his heart. If these Sacred Tree Masters come to their own island, they can use the power of the Tiangong Cannon. How about it? No need to explain anything. Just one more shot, I'm afraid it will be unforgettable for the rest of my life. Next, it's time to return to the Grey World. Lu Shu's expression suddenly became focused. Returning to the Grey World, there is still one very important thing to do. Obtain the mirage left by the Eternal Emperor. The core of the mirage is already in his hands. As long as you use your mental power to communicate with the core of the mirage, you can summon the legendary mirage. That is a treasure that even the heavenly palace attaches great importance to. There is a secret realm hiding a treasure map. The goddess is definitely watching over it, watching with eager eyes. And if Lu Shu wants to obtain it if it's a mirage, then you have to face the goddess directly and even kill her. Come on, come and let you have a taste of God's luck when the time comes. Lu Shu smiled softly and stepped into the grey world. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 399. Grey World, Coordinates, 100, 343. The storm in the sea is raging again. Luo Shui stared at the endless sea, and his indifferent eyes suddenly showed some killing intent. By the time this mortal storm is over, that person should be almost here. Only, I don't know what Master said about this calamity for the mortal world. Luo Shui's eyes showed a little doubt. According to what the Master said, everything in the world must accept the test of disaster. Therefore, God sent down the punishment from heaven and gave all living beings a certain amount of suffering. Only by transcending the world and only by reaching the realm of true immortals can we survive this disaster. But in Luo Shui's eyes, this mortal disaster, isn't it a bit too heavy? There is no chance of any mortal disaster in a storm of this level. Can you survive the catastrophe? The test? It's obviously a burial, right? No. Luo Shui shook his head, his eyes became sober and firm again. You must firmly believe that your life is given by Master. Since it was Master who said it, how could it possibly be false? If these mortals cannot survive this disaster, it only means that they cannot escape the disaster. Even if there is no disaster, they will still be wiped out one day. Suddenly, a crack opened in the surrounding void. A wave of madness suddenly set off in the calm sea. Luo Shui's figure suddenly swayed and teleported thousands of miles away. The next second, a sword light cut through the blue sea and headed towards he cut down the place where Luo Shui was originally located. The water curtain in the sky turned into white waves rising into the sky. The sea surface where Luo Shui used to be suddenly turned into an extremely deep and huge pit, which looked shocking. Even if the god was killed, I'm afraid he won't be able to survive being cut by the sword light. You finally came. Luo Shui's eyes flashed with a hint of chill. If the sword had hit her just now, with her way of doing things, she might not have been unharmed. She just hadn't seen her for a while. Why did she feel that the other party's strength seemed to have become stronger? So much. Lu Shu said calmly, I'm just here to take away my mirage. If you want to stop me anymore, I won't blame you. You're welcome. Luo Shui's eyes showed anger and said, why are you so unreasonable? Oh. Lu Shu raised his eyebrows slightly. This was the first time he heard such remarks. Girl, it seems that you have been blocking me from getting the mirage. This mirage was the property of one emperor throughout the ages. Now that the great emperor has fallen, it has naturally become an ownerless thing. Those who are destined to know it naturally. What the girl said is that you have taken over this mirage as your own. Anyone who is your enemy is an unjust person. Unavoidable. It's a bit too strong-minded. I have no intention of being an enemy of Tiangong, but if the girl insists on doing so, then don't blame the immortal killing sword in my hand for not being polite. Lu Shu said coldly. Although the other party is the messenger of the Tiangong, you can't be used to it. Saying that it's yours is yours. Isn't it too overbearing? You. There was a bit of shame and anger in Luo Shui's eyes. These words cannot be refuted. She gritted her teeth and said this mirage was once created by the things from the heavenly palace. Although it was owned by an emperor throughout the ages, it has the ability to go to the heavenly palace. Therefore, such items cannot be left in the mortal world, but must be recycled into the heavenly palace. Otherwise, with your mortal character, holding this thing will definitely bring disaster to the heavenly palace. Understand? Hearing this, Lu Shu couldn't help but laugh. After saying so much, isn't it because he is afraid that after the mortal world owns the mirage, it can threaten the Tiangong? After all, the god of the Tiangong has to pay a price to come to the mortal world. And this kind of price, the higher the god, the more the price he has to pay. Therefore, they sent a first-level god like Luo Shui to complete this matter. And, this Luo Shui is obviously the same. The group of people from Tiangong were brainwashed and became indifferent to black and white. They only knew to maintain the same rhetoric. Lu Shu shook his head and said, "You talk about Tiangong all day long. It's just Tiangong telling you to do this. So you just do it? Let me ask you, if you take back the mirage, what benefits has Heavenly Palace given you?" These words made Luo Shui stunned. Then she replied coldly, "This is the order of my master, the goddess of the 9 heavens. I am just following the order." Lu Shu chuckled. In other words, you work for others for free. You. Luo Shui suddenly became furious. Work to earn a living? How can you call such a noble and glorious thing a part-time job when you dedicate your life to serving your teacher? The world is the world. Even the words he spoke sounded so vulgar. Luo Shui was too lazy to talk nonsense to Lu Shu, and said coldly, "If you don't hand over the core of the mirage, then you will be the enemy of Tiangong. In the eyes of Heavenly Palace, a human being is nothing more than an ant. What you will end up doing is self-destruction." Lu Shu laughed loudly. The laughter was extremely heartwarming. Luo Shui frowned. What is this mortal laughing at? The next second, Lu Shu directly pulled out the Zuxian sword in his hand and said coldly, "This is what I am holding. A sword was created specifically to kill gods. If you have the courage, you can come over and give it a try." Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 400. Luo Shui's eyes were full of anger, and her voice gradually became colder. Do you know what the fate of the last person who looked down upon the gods in heaven would be? In the mortal world, the eternal emperor, who is known as the first person, fell into the 6 realms and cannot be reincarnated precisely because he offended the heavenly palace. Now, you are seeking your own death. Threatening the fate of an eternal emperor? Lu Shu almost laughed. These words may be useful to deceive other sacred tree masters. But he got the Samsara library. Although he has never seen the real one, there is one emperor through the ages, but we have heard about the deeds of this great emperor during his lifetime. Among the records in the Samsara library, the one emperor through the ages built such a mirage precisely because he wanted to achieve true immortality, going to the heavenly palace. As a result, I didn't expect to be plotted by the heavenly palace. This will lead to the collapse of the empire and the fall of this strong man. Otherwise, as long as they don't go to the heavenly palace, then these so-called gods will return the eternal emperor. There is really nothing I can do. With these words, trying to scare Lu Shu is just a dream. Lu Shu smiled lightly and said, "The reason why an emperor of all ages fell was just to seek immortality, so he was plotted by you. But it's a pity that I have no interest in immortality, so I won't fall into your childish schemes. Compared with the eternal emperor, I am more interested in killing gods. Do you want to give it a try?" A sword came out. That sword in Luo Shui contained the ruthless avenue. It was like seeing through the world of mortals, and it slashed towards Lu Shu. At this moment, everything withered. Any sword in the world, in front of this ruthless avenue, it seemed as if they had lost their color. Even the fallen leaves began to decay instantly, withering and falling into a lifeless state. The road. Lu Shu's eyes moved slightly. Luo Shui's sword made him feel the way of the gods. This woman, as a general under the nine heavens goddess, although she only has the status of a first-order god, she still has some skills in the Tao. Lu Shu nodded and made a slight comment. It's a pity. This sword has no effect on him. God's lock. Golden chains, like the tentacles of an octopus, spread across the entire sky in an instant. The next second, the divinities nearby were completely blocked by the golden light curtain. The blue sky sword that penetrated the ruthless path originally made everything in the world eclipse, but this golden light was extremely dazzling, breaking through the boundless in an instant. The grey light twined towards Luo Shui's limbs. God's lock. Luo Shui's expression finally changed at this moment. As a disciple of the nine heavens goddess, she has so much knowledge. How could she not recognize this chain? Even a person of Lord Lilan's status is familiar with the prestige of the god's chain like thunder, let alone Luo Shui. In fact, Luo Shui knew more than that. The so-called lock of God is actually just a part of a supreme artifact. And the complete name of that artifact is Lock of Heaven. As the name suggests, even the sky can be blocked by this supreme artifact. Back then, the Jade Emperor and the Lord of the Divine Kingdom jointly sealed this supreme weapon. It became a common property of the Divine Kingdom and the Heavenly Palace. According to legend, long before the birth of the Heavenly Palace and the Kingdom of God, the supreme artifacts already existed in the world. Some people say that these supreme artifacts were born in Hongmeng. Some people say that these supreme artifacts were made by saints. But before Hongmeng, the saints already existed. Even the Divine Kingdom and the Heavenly Palace did not have legends of saints. Therefore, the legends were just legends. As a first-level god, Luo Shui, although he had divine status, was nothing more than a mere legend among the behemoths of the Heavenly Palace and the Divine Kingdom. At most, it can be regarded as cannon fodder. How can I put it? Luo Shui also knows that the predecessor of this divine lock is actually a supreme divine weapon with infinite power. Although it is only a part of the supreme weapon, the divine lock has to deal with himself, a first-level god. Is more than enough? How can it be? You are just a mortal. Can he actually withstand the divinity of such an artifact? No. This is impossible. Luo Shui was completely panicked and hurriedly drew out the flying Luo Shui sword, trying to cut off the chain of gods that was about to entangle him. It's a pity. Ruthless Luo Shui can kill everything in the world, but he can't kill the divinity. Just because divinity is already a part of her. If she wants to cut off the shackles of the divine lock, she must first destroy her own divinity. This is naturally impossible for Luo Shui. It is tantamount to committing suicide. Therefore, once the divine locks are entangled away, for Luo Shui, it is like encountering a natural enemy. At this moment, Luo Shui is frightened and panicked by the divine locks covering the sky, and the sword moves in his hands are also it became messy. She pulled away and wanted to run away, but unfortunately it was too late. How could Lu Shu not guess what the other party was thinking? When Luo Shui realized that something was wrong, the divine lock had already formed a huge formation, like a cover covering the sky and the sun, completely covered this place. The divine lock, even gods can block it. Let alone the void. Here, the void has been imprisoned in all directions. Even using the flying escape method, he couldn't break through this cage. Luo Shui's face was ashen, like a bird trapped in a cage, constantly struggling with the wings on his body, but he couldn't find anyone that could the breakthrough gap. The next second, the dense chains of gods had completely surrounded Luo Shui and swept away towards her delicate body.